Hello one and all, welcome back to yet another movie review. This time I shall be reviewing Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, which came out in 2006. It once again, of course, stars Johnny Depp, Keira Knightley, and Orlando Bloom, returning from the first movie, Curse of the Black Pearl. And like with last year when I reviewed Curse of the Black Pearl, this will contain spoilers if you have never seen Dead Man's Chest. That's your warning. Let's dig into this thing. And it is, of course, once again directed by Gore Verbinski. So, yeah, and I definitely was debating whether I should review this or not because back when I was a kid, I never got into the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. They just looked a bit silly to me when I was a kid. They looked very Disney-ish. But whenever I got a bit older and started watching Curse of the Black Pearl, I ended up really loving that movie. Last year I reviewed that, and it's definitely become one of my favorite movies because it's so realistic. The actors are doing real things. It definitely feels like a classic. It is a classic as far as I'm concerned anyway. And it was just so great, none of the less. With the sequels, they seem to have gone downhill from there. And although Dead Man's Chest is definitely a fun movie and easily the best sequel of the Pirates franchise, I can definitely see where people are coming from because I've actually reviewed the fifth movie back when it came out, but I don't want to do at World's End or on Stranger Tides. Maybe I'll do at World's End at some point. I don't know. But I wanted to review at least the ones that I like anyway, even though the fifth one, yeah. But let's dig into this thing. So it opens up with Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, played by Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley. A lot of people have complained that their arc in the first film, Curse of the Black Pearl, was complete. It was done. We didn't need to see them anymore. But honestly, I didn't mind seeing them back. I can understand, but all honesty, they're kind of main characters of this franchise. Obviously not as main character as Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow. But then again, I thought it was pretty good seeing them back on screen. And yeah, and so this was definitely a hype. But I didn't get to see any of the Pirates movies. I only saw the fifth one in cinema because, as I said earlier, I couldn't get into them until much older. But here we are. And so we're first introduced to Jack Sparrow. He's coming out of his coffin on the wall. And then, of course, later he's painted with triple eyes down there. And then there's definitely a moment where it shows where the series starts to get very cartoony, like whenever Jack Sparrow is using this bamboo stick. He's sort of jumping across and then sort of falling down, and you can definitely tell that it definitely doesn't feel like a real thing that he's doing compared to Curse of Black Pearl. But all in all, I kind of don't care, honestly, because it's kind of a pure joy moment, honestly. Oh, and Bill Knight, who if that's how you pronounce his name, who plays Davy Jones, who's the villain of this movie and at World's End. Honestly, I think the CGI is actually really well done because it looks very real. I mean, and if I'm being honest with you, some CGI now these days just does not look good as what you see here, or just in general, really, because they captured Davy Jones so well, I think. And yeah, there's definitely a few dull moments, which I'm not really going to get into because I'm going to talk about stuff that I mostly enjoy about the movie. But there's a scene where they're sort of playing this game with Davy Jones and Will Turner. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, it definitely kind of felt out of place a little bit in some aspects. It's definitely a slightly slower movie, maybe I'm wrong, but definitely the third act really picks up, especially involving Will Turner, another guy, and Jack Sparrow on this sort of wooden pinwheel. You know, it's sort of going downwards. You know, Johnny Depp is trying to get on to Jack Sparrow anyway. Then, of course, there's a pretty good fight scene as the wheel wanders along. And, you know, it's pretty exciting to say the least, until when it gets to the Kraken scene, which is pretty cool to say the least. The Kraken, again, the CGI looks very, very good in this movie. Definitely better than what we get now these days. It certainly looks very exciting. There's a ship that gets broken in half, which I think is actually quite a cool shot. And then, of course, you do have a moment before Jack Sparrow is sort of trying to sacrifice himself in some way. Then you have Elizabeth Swann having a moment with him. You know, they're kissing. And then Elizabeth eventually still joins with Will Turner and the other guys anyway. And so I do love the shot whenever Jack Sparrow is doing this with his sword at the Kraken. Then, of course, the Kraken gets him eventually anyway. And now they've lost Jack Sparrow. And so I like the ending where they sort of toast to Jack Sparrow, saying he was a good man. But then they're also figuring out how they could eventually get back. And of course, you do have at World's End mentioned in this movie somewhat. Then you see some feet going down the steps, and it's Captain Barbossa. Captain Barbossa, the villain from the first movie, joins them. They're looking for a captain, and it turns out that Captain Barbossa is going to be the captain for At World's End whenever, so that they can get Jack Sparrow back to the team, which I think is actually a pretty cool ending. You know, these other characters are like, how are they going to cope with Barbossa? So, because Barbossa was bad in the first movie. Well, not the character. Well, not the actor, but the character was a villain anyway. So, until the sequels anyway, but whatever. But overall, guys, Dead Man's Chest is a pretty good movie, I think. It is definitely not as good as Curse of the Black Pearl, which is like peak in regards to filmmaking anyway. Dead Man's Chest is definitely a fun, worthy sequel with some exciting aspects. You know, as I said earlier, the wheel scene and the Kraken scene, you know, those are definitely some highlights for At World's End. And I think Gore Verbinski, can't speak, but I think Gore Verbinski directs the movie very, very well, and I think everybody is still doing a great job, especially Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, of course. But there you go, guys. That was my review on Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Let me know below in the comments. Let's have a great discussion down there. And as always, if you're new to my channel, I'm a movie reviewer from the UK that likes to do movie reviews, particularly classics, because that's my style. That's where my excitement really hits. And as always, if you're new once again, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share this video, and notify that bell before you leave. If you're new to my channel, please feel free to do all of those. And if you are a returner to this YouTube channel, welcome back, and hope you are enjoying my content so far. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace.